You too. What's good? It's your boy, Everything Water, and water is everything, my familia. I got for you guys a crazy infinite super solar hunter build. If you got like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. Let's get straight into this video. Let's get it. To the video. Alright, starting off with our exotic armor, we have Shards of Galanor. Now, Shards of Galanor hits and kills with Blade Barrage will return Super's energy after Super ends. Now, this is really cool. Now, starting up, this is not one of the builds, like, once you use your Super, that's when the build really gets effective, because with this, it's like you get about, let's say, between 40 to 50% of your Super when you hit them. So that's pretty cool. So being able to start your Super higher than just not having any super energy, starting with 50%, is cool. And with the exotic weapon, which I'm going to talk about a little later, it's going to extend that period even more, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, this is a really underused exotic. It's not as good as any other exotics, but it's in terms of getting your super back and dealing in pretty much damage and also doing pretty good AoE damage too. This is a perfect exotic for that. Now we're going to get into our exotic weapon. Now, for an exotic weapon, we are using the bad juju. Now, the exotic perk for the bad juju is kills refine the magazine, increase damage for a short duration, and grants super energy based on the strength of strings of curses. Fires fully auto. Now, if you have the catalyst, this basically expands the duration of strings of curses, which is pretty cool, because without the catalyst, you probably only get like 2 seconds, and that's not really that much good of a time to kill enemies unless they're red bars. But this exotic weapon is not more strong. This is used like for more of like low level content, because it does fall off in damage when you're going against shield combatants, so that's one thing to note too. But the best perk of this, with kills or hits with this weapon, refines or gives you super energy. Now, if you get a kill, you refine your magazine fully. So if you get a kill and you only have 2 bullets left, it refines to the max. Also, kills with this weapon grants you super energy, which is pretty good. It's not as good as the Wish Ender for in terms of super energy, but it's really good, because when you're going to be destroying, it destroys red bar enemies, even some combatants with shields that are red bars, but anything higher than that, it falls off in damage. But this weapon is really good for just cleaning up the red bars and also getting your super energy really quick. This extends that. So with the Shards of Galanor, you get about 50%, 40 to 50%, depending on the enemies you hit and enemies that are killed. You get about between 40 to 50% when you're doing that. And then plus with the bad juju, you're gonna get your super probably faster. So you're probably gonna get your super in about 30 to 45 seconds with this, while wiping out red R's with the bad juju and the galanor already pulling your super to 50%, which is pretty cool. So yeah, now we're gonna get into the aspects, the fragments of this build. Let's go. Right, for our subclass, we're going to be using Blade Barrage, obviously, because we got the exotic armor piece, Shards of Galanor. For our ability, we're going to be using Gambler's Dodge. We don't be needing to use Acrobatic Dodge. That gives you Radiant or Immersement. There's no point, because we're going to be using the Knife Trick. That's going to be giving us Radiant. Also, for grenade, I'm using Incinerated Grenade. You could use any grenade, honestly. If you want to go solo, if you want to go for more restoration, you can go there, but this gives more Scorch, and I like applying more Scorch for some reason, gives you more super energy. For our aspects, we're going to be using Knock them down. Obviously, Blade Barrage launches more projectiles, while Radiant Final Blows, with your equipped to throw a knife, fully refunds your melee energy. That's going to be good going into one of our fragments that we're going to get into a little bit later. Also, we're going to be using On Your Mark. You can go with Gunpowder Gamble, because it's going to also give more Scorches, but this is more Precision Final Blows, grants you nearby allies increased weapon handling. Activate your class of immediately grant stacks of On Your Mark, which is pretty cool. Again, now going into our fragments, we're going to be using Amber of Searings. The Phoenix Scorch targets grants melee energy and creates a Fire Sprite. This is really good. Fire Sprites obviously right there. Our Solar Energy, which picks up Fire Sprites, grants grenade energy, which is pretty cool, and then you also scorch his enemy and have ignitions. We're also going to be using Amber of Char. Amber of Char, the target is singed by destructive and light, taking damage over time. This is really good. Your solar ignition spreads scorch to affected targets. Again, we're going to be using the incinerator, which is going to be spreading scorch and ignition, so that's going to be cool. Also, we're going to be using Amber of Ashes. You apply more scorch stacks to targets. That's another thing that's going to be nice. You want to apply as much scorch to enemies as much as possible. And then your solar ignitions have increased area effects. Amber of Eruption. This is a really good, because anything that explodes, you want to be able to increase the effect, the radius blast as much as possible. And last but not least, we got Amber of Torches. Powerful melee attacks against good bandits make you and nearby allies radiant. Now this is going to go into your nitric. Every hit or kill with the nitric, you're going to get radiant, so that's going to be really cool. And after that, you're going to constantly have radiant with your nitric because of on your mark. I mean, not on your mark, because of knock them down. But yeah, that's it for my fragments, abilities, and aspects. Now I'm going to give you guys my stats and mods. Also, for the artifacts, make sure you are using elemental orb check. So this gives you, like, when you scorch enemies with your solar weapon, you get elemental orb, which spreads explosion. These explosions scorch enemies too, so that's pretty cool. Now for our stats, obviously when in any PvP content, anything higher than 1700, you want to have max mobility. I mean, not mobility, you want to have max resilience, which is pretty cool. Again, you can go for mobility, because I don't really have the armor that really gives me decent mobility, or I don't have any really good rolls for mobility, so I'm really just going for typical grenade and resilience, because your grenade is going to be your strongest ability, does the most damage, and then resilience is going to be good for just keeping you alive. Then I got recovery at decent, like about 68, which is pretty good. You want to be able to recover health as fast as possible, especially depending on the content. If you're in higher end content, recovery is pretty good. Obviously intellect too, because with the Shards of galanor, we're going to be, you want to get your super as fast as possible, which is pretty cool too. Now going for our mods, you guys can screenshot this part if you guys want to. That's really it, nothing too crazy. That's it for the video, man. If you guys like this type of video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. It's your boy Everything Water, and I'm out.